episode 84 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivets. So this week's episode, we knew in advance that No Way Jose and Rich Swan would take on Tony Nese and Drew Gulick. There was also a second Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic match that took place. The show kicked off with Samoa Joe's attack on Nakamura a few weeks ago. We saw some of his other attacks on NXT superstars, and then the video ended with the brawl from last week. We also got word that Nakamura will address Samoa Joe and the NXT crowd. First match was Swan and Jose versus Nese and Gulick. Swan caught Gulick off the ropes with a huge dropkick, and then he tagged in Jose, who then overpowered Nese in their exchange. Tony Nese came back with some kicks and a nice leg sweep takedown. He lifted He lifted Jose up for a suplex, but Jose countered and landed his own suplex. Nese connected with a super kick to Swan on the outside, which then led to a commercial break. Back from that, Swan got the hot tag to Jose. He then turned Nese pretty much inside out with a huge clothesline. He tossed up Gulick and caught him in midair with a straight right-hand punch. Swan hit a springboard splash to Nese on the outside, while Jose planted Gulick with I think it was like a one-handed choke slam to get the win. Fun opening match. I said it last week, I'm going to say it again. I'm sick of seeing Nese and Gulick together. I like them separately. They are good athletes, but together they've been teaming on NXT. They've teamed a couple times on Raw in the Cruiserweight division. So they're kind of forcing these two together when they should kind of develop their own personalities and their own characters. Swan and Jose are a very fun tag team. I like it a lot. NXT Universe is behind them. Their catchphrases kind of go together. Can you handle this? No way, Jose. It works. Unfortunately for them, this run may come to an end as they take on the Authors of Pain in the second round of the tournament. After the match, though, Jose and Swan cut a promo about winning in the first round, and they used each other's catchphrases in the meantime. They called out the Authors of Pain not to overlook them. Could have really done without the promo after the match. There wasn't really much substance behind it. I don't know, it just didn't seem well developed, and it was whatever. Tom Phillips then brought up Hideo Itami's injury, and then he's not going to be able to compete in the tournament. We got a recap of the Glorious 10 Sanity match from last week. Ty was then shown in the trainer's room, quote-unquote, earlier today. He was approached by someone who asked him about last week and what happened. He said he didn't have a problem with Sanity. His issue is with Bobby Roode, who is clearly not a man of his word. And he went to William Regal and requested a match against Roode at TakeOver. Phillips then said that the match is official. I think that's the first official match for TakeOver. They haven't really announced anything else. Should be a really good match. We obviously saw this coming even before the attack or the Roode's turn last week. They were planting the seeds for this one for a little bit, so I'm happy to see that it actually paid off. Austin Aries was then interviewed. He was eating a banana. He mentioned that no one's going to ask him about that, but they're all talking about his mystery partner. He used the word strong, which kind of spoiled it for those who didn't know already. He made fun of Hideo Itami's injury as well for him being soft and having no backbone. Second match, Bobby Roode defeated Sean Maluta. Maluta got some offense in. He kind of landed a dropkick as Roode did his glorious taunt. Roode was pissed off at this and landed two hard chops. Maluta tried making a comeback, but Roode caught him with a nice spinebuster that Graves compared to a spinebuster Arn Anderson would give. And then he won with his Impaler DDT. Typical hype match or squash match, whatever you want to call it, for Bobby Roode, making him look strong for TakeOver. Or, I guess, making him look glorious for TakeOver. Roode was cutting a promo on Dillinger after the match. He said that Ty begged him to be his partner. He wanted to bring Ty away from his pathetic life and to bring him to his glorious life. Ty ran down. Roode stopped him, stomped on him a little bit, but Ty countered a DDT and landed some punches. He clotheslined Roode over the ropes and sent him packing. The crowd gave a huge reaction to that. They're clearly behind Ty Dillinger, surprisingly considering how over Bobby Roode was when he made his debut. But the same thing with Andrade Cien Almas turning on Cedric Alexander. When you turn on a fan favorite as much as the crowd's behind Ty Dillinger or Cedric, the crowd's going to hate you, and they're picking their spots, and it's working. Liv Morgan was interviewed backstage as she was attacked by Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. They brought her out to the stage, and then I think one of them, I don't remember who, kicked her across the face. They then cut a promo. It's the week of promos this week. Just everyone's cutting promos during, before, after matches. They said they put the NXT women's division on notice, including Asuka. Third match was Tucker Knight and Otis Dozovich versus Austin Aries and his mystery partner, Roderick Strong. Otis looks like a combination of Bull Dempsey, Rusev, and Bray Wyatt, and not the best of the features that he received. He's balding, overweight, just big, stocky guy. Strong didn't get the loudest reaction when his music hit. Only some of the smart fans that knew about it reacted. but they got behind him later on in the match. Otis and Tucker were pretty much overpowering Aries and Strong in the early part of the match. At one point, Otis caught Aries in midair, and Tucker ran the ropes and sandwiched Aries in between him and Otis. He was caught by Tucker with a dropkick off the ropes, which was surprising. I can't believe Tucker Knight got that high. A little later on, Aries and Strong were on offense and wore down Otis. They landed a backstabber springboard elbow combination. Otis suplexed both of them, and he tagged in Tucker. He ran both men in the corner. He went for it one too many times, but they sent him flying on the outside, and Aries and Strong were back on offense. Aries took out Otis with a forearm off the apron. They then hit a forearm gutbuster combination on Tucker, and Strong hit a running drop kick to get the win. Surprisingly, I actually liked this match. Big men were in control. The dynamic worked. They were just overpowering these two smaller guys. And they looked good. Otis, never heard of him before. Never even seen him in action. And for a big guy, he and Tucker Knight actually moved around really well. And then obviously the heels took over using their quickness and their experience to get the advantage and won the match. The second round matchup for these two would be Strong and Aries versus TM61. That may be the best match of the tournament. We've seen some good ones so far in the first round, but this one should be amazing. We then got another recap of the Revival, Andre Cien Almas, Cedric Alexander match from a couple weeks ago and the heel turn. They then transitioned to a sit-down promo from Almas with Andrea DeMarco translating for him. Part of this translation, he said that he took off the mask to be a part of NXT, but he hasn't received any respect since joining NXT. He then spoke in English saying that he doesn't worry about respect anymore, he only worries about himself, and then walked off. Third match, Nikki Cross of Sanity versus Danielle Camella. Cross did some crazy shit during the match. She was biting herself, clawing, pulling her hair out. It was weird. She won with a snap fisherman suplex. Graves said he had no idea what to make of this, and I agree with him. Nikki went after Danielle after the match. Eric Young eventually took her off. Nikki hit Young across the face and went back after Danielle. The referee reversed the decision as a result and named Danielle the winner. This whole group doesn't care about winning. They're just crazy individuals wanting to beat the crap out of people. We then got word that next week the final first-round matchups take place. Team DIY of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus Ho-Ho, Loon, and Tian Bing. And TJ Perkins, who is now Kota Ibushi's partner, take on Lince Dorado and Mustafa Ali. Shinsuke Nakamura made his way to the ring to address Samoa Joe. He started by saying that he isn't done with Joe, and he said if Joe wants to take his NXT championship at TakeOver, come get it. Orlando Jordan, Patrick Clark, interrupted. He said we already saw Joe and Nakamura, and we suggested we see something else. He called himself the Velveteen Dream. I don't think they got a reaction out of anyone. I know I shook my head at hearing that. Nakamura just looking at him, he kicked Clark a few times. He then turned around just in time to catch Samoa Joe sneaking down to the ring trying to attack him. Joe then backed away up the ramp as Nakamura hit Clark with the Kinshasa as the show ended. As far as the final segment, there are some parts I liked, some I didn't like. I like that Joe was actually looking for more after he received a Kinshasa last week. He was ready to attack Nakamura. That's how much he wants the NXT title. Didn't really care for Clark interrupting, but it kind of made sense because I don't really know there was much for Nakamura to address the crowd about, more than what he already said. So having someone interrupt, trying to distract Nakamura for Joe, it makes sense. I guess I wish it was someone else then. I'm not too sure, but it was just a little clunky. Overall, I did like the first tag team match with Noe Jose and Rich Swan. A little more than I like the Aries and Roderick Strong one. Next week's matches should be amazing, especially Gargano and Ciampa. Once we get a breakdown of the final 8 teams and we'll see what the second round looks like, I think we'll have a better idea of which team has a realistic chance of winning this thing. I'll go over the brackets next week's show as well once we get the first round concluded. Other than that, I like the show a lot. It flew. A lot of promos, though. Could have did without maybe one or two of them, especially the Rich Swan, No Way Jose one. I don't know what the purpose of that was. I have a feeling they're going to lose to Authors of Pain, unfortunately. It was quick. The hour flew by, and the Nakamura Joe stuff should look good. That's obviously going to be the main event for TakeOver. You still have Roode and Dillinger and a few more matches, and obviously Asuka and Mickie James, which I don't think I talked about. Holy crap. I don't know where this came from. I read a report that they were trying to get Trish to take the match instead of Mickie, but she announced that she was pregnant, so they went a different route. And unfortunately, this is what happens when the women's division doesn't have any credible contenders. Ember Moon's not there yet. They're doing these mid-tier feuds with Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and Liv Morgan. Mandy Rose is thrown in there somewhere. So you got to bring in someone from the outside to be a credible challenger, and it's going to be Mickie James versus Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship. I know that there's going to have a video segment with Asuka in the ring and Mickie James appearing on the screen in a couple weeks. So I'm excited to see how the crowd reacts to that. But it should be a good match. I just know that Mickie James is losing. So it kind of takes the drama out of it a little bit. But nonetheless, it should be a really good match. Like I said, next week we have the final 2 first-round matchups of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. Rate, review, subscribe to the show on YouTube. I post there every Thursday. Other than that, I'll be back with episode 85 next week. Peace.